And what it means to me to be a graduate of the University of Oklahoma is someone who is contributing to a live legacy.
I saw ordinary people up here doing extraordinary things, and I thought, I can do that, and I hope these kids say, I can do that too.
Well, the journalism training at OU certainly allowed me to do many things in life.
The University of Oklahoma gave me the opportunity to find success in the chosen field that I was hoping to succeed.
It not only taught me the skills that I think were necessary for how to function in the business world, but it really gave me the background for how to deal with a lot of the issues that we faced.
Journalists have a burden, really, to help where they can help.
If you have a strong foundation for writing and storytelling, that could take you anywhere you want to go.
To be included in that group by people that I went to school with and people that have attended OU since then is a real honor for me.
It's not just a job with me. It's been my life.
Anytime you are doing something that you really enjoy, really enjoy, that's your career.
You learn to win at Oklahoma. I learned confidence more than anything.
It's very easy to talk with people about a product that you truly believe in. And I truly believe in what we're doing.
Good morning. I don't know about you all, but that gets me kind of pumped up. I'm excited to be here. I drove in this morning from Ardmore, and any day you can take off from work and come to Norman, it's going to be a good day. So, and then tomorrow's going to be even better, and I'm looking forward to kind of the next week and a half for those of you who know what I'm talking about. But again, good morning and welcome to the 2015 JayMac Distinguished Alumni Awards Ceremony. My name is Darrell Voss, and I'm president of the JayMac Alumni Association. I'm excited that today is finally here for us to recognize some of our fellow alumni for their outstanding careers. The Friends of Alumni Association of the Gaylord College, nicknamed JayMac, was created in 1983 with a mission to promote pride for the program and its faculty, students, and alumni, and to encourage the pursuit of excellence within the school and among practitioners in the profession. I know many of you are members of the JayMac Alumni Association, and we thank you for continued support. I also would like to invite all the JayMac lifetime members that are in attendance today. Would you all please stand so we can recognize you and thank you? Lifetime members. Well, it might have been the lifetime might have scared you all off, but thank you all for being here today. It's through these members and others like them that we're able to recognize journalism graduates who have prestigious careers. As you know, we are here today to honor 4 special alumni, bringing the number to 113 that we've recognized as distinguished alumni since 1984. This is kind of a little bit of I've been a little nervous about today. I've done a couple of these in my term as president now, but this one's got a lot riding on it. You all are on an adventure today because we've got 2 kids from Perry that are working on this today, and Ed Kelly and I both grew up in the little town of Perry, so we're going to try not to mess up today's ceremonies. But I would like to first welcome the Gaylord College Interim Dean, Ed Kelly, to the podium to share some remarks about the college and students. Ed.
Thank you, Darrell. I certainly want to echo Darrell's comments and thank the JayMac members, our alums, and particularly our special guests who are here today. And speaking of special guests, we have a few that I would like to introduce. And first, it really is a real honor to have one of our university's Board of Regents, members of our Board of Regents here today. Please help me welcome from Lawton, Bill Burgess. Bill, if you would stand, wave. Bill has done a lot of things in his career, and one of the ones that is certainly close to my heart is the fact that he is the owner of the Lawton Constitution, which means that he is the owner of the largest locally owned newspaper in Oklahoma. So in my way of thinking, he's one of us here at Gaylord College. So Bill, I'm so glad again that you're here today, and I hope that when you come in this building, you really feel at home as someone who works daily in the media in this state. We also have lots of other special friends here today, and I want to introduce a few of them, starting first with the university's the Vice President for University Governance and the Secretary of the Board of Regents, Chris Purcell. Dr. Purcell? Sitting near Chris, the Dean of our outstanding law school and University Vice President, Joe Harris. Sort of in the back, OU's Vice President for Public Affairs, Catherine Bishop. And one of our greatest journalism grads of all time, our Senior Associate Vice President, Paul Massett. Paul? And finally, much of the progress that we made here over the last 10 years can be attributed to this man, our former dean. Sitting in the back, Joe Foote. Joe, if you would stand. Fortunately for us, Joe will return in January from a well-deserved sabbatical to resume his role as a Gaylord professor full-time. Joe, we look forward to having you back full-time at Gaylord Hall. You know, as I look out over this audience this morning, I see faces of lots of alums, including the faces of some of the alums we're going to salute this morning, who've gone on and done lots of really great things. And I also see a smattering of students. We have lots of outstanding students here at Gaylord College, among the many, the 1,000 or more that we have enrolled across our 5 sequences. And they're eager, as you might imagine, just like we were years ago, to get out and start their careers on their own. They truly are the next generation of professionals in training, alumni in training, and they're obviously the next generation of alumni to go out and do great things in media, in journalism, and other walks of life. I'd like to introduce 2 of these outstanding students right now, Christina DiVincenzo and Bijan Hosseini. Christina and Bijan, if you would come up. Together, Christina and Bijan lead our Gaylord ambassadors. The ambassadors are roughly 25 or so students. As I told you, we have lots of outstanding students in Gaylord College, and the ambassadors represent the best of the best. They do lots of things on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis for us here at the college. Like today's event, as you saw some of the ambassadors who were handing out programs as you came in. They organized a great event on their own last month at Homecoming that they organized for the alumni out here in the courtyard at Gaylord Hall. They provide tours to lots of prospective students and their families who come through the building, as well as hosting guest speakers on campus. And individually, both Christina and Bijan have outstanding resumes as well. I want to talk a little bit about both of them. Christina is a native of Southlake, Texas. She's the vice chair of the ambassadors this year. She's a journalism major while also pursuing minors in Spanish and business enterprise studies. She has participated in lots of things in this college, including OU Nightly and Roots TV. Her proudest Gaylord moment came last fall when she had a one-on-one interview with Coach Bob Stoops. She liked that, as you might imagine. Outside of Gaylord, Christina is a member of the President's Leadership Class, the Campus Activities Council, and Chi Omega. She also enjoys volunteering as a wish granter for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, a great organization, as you know. And after completing an internship with Live Nation Entertainment last summer in Dallas, near her hometown, Christina hopes to pursue a career in entertainment media marketing upon graduation. Bijan is from Tulsa, and he's graduating. Unfortunately, he's leaving us next month in December with a double major in broadcast journalism and international security studies. Bijan hopes one day to become an international foreign conflict reporter, and I know him pretty well, and I have no doubt that that will happen. During his time at OU, he studied abroad in Turkey, Sierra Leone, and most recently the West Bank, where he spent this summer living in the midst of the Arab-Israeli conflict. Bijan also serves as an anchor and graphic producer on the OU Nightly newscast, and he's the chair this semester of the Gaylord Ambassadors. So Christina and Bijan, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Kelly.
All right.
As members of the Gaylord Ambassadors, we have the opportunity to meet with some amazing people with some really impressive careers. Some of our favorite times are when we realize that they got their start here at OU just like us.
And today we want to honor 4 such individuals, but first we want to honor a member of another group that inspires us every day, and that's the faculty here at Gaylord College.
This year, Gaylord College experienced a great loss with the passing of Assistant Professor Owen Kulameka. Professor Kulameka was known for his passion for motivating students to follow their dreams. In honor of Professor Kulameka, the JayMac Alumni Association has renamed the teaching award in his honor.
And this award is given each year to a Gaylord College faculty member who has demonstrated excellence in the classroom. The 5 top-rated professors who are evaluated by students are then put to a student vote, and the recipient is not unveiled until right now.
So will the nominees for the Owen Kulameka Teaching Award that are present please stand? Mike Betcher, David Craig, Peter Gade, Mel Odom, and Debbie Yont.
These professors standing represent the best of the best here at Gaylord College at this university. Each of these professors has made a difference in a student's life, many students' lives, and we hope that they will continue to do so for many years to come. Each of these professors is very well respected by their student and faculty peers and are to be commended for their dedication to the students and the profession.
And now we would like to welcome to the stage the professor who received the most votes, Debbie Yont.
Debbie Yont, please accept this plaque recognizing you as the 2015 Owen Kulameka Teaching Award recipient. And now, welcome back to the stage, Dean Kelly.
Thanks to both Christina and Bijan. A few words of personal privilege I'm going to take about Debbie. This is so well deserved. Her story is an interesting one. An OU grad herself, she went off and spent lots of years in strategic communications, particularly on both coasts, the East and the West Coast, running big-time organizations. And a few years ago, Joe Foote recruited Debbie, or convinced her, to join our Board of Visitors, which is about 30 or so professionals from across our 5 sequences. Many of here are in Oklahoma and Texas, but others are across the country. Well, Debbie joined the board, and I think that's where she got the bug about, well, could I come back and take what I know and help impart that to students? And as you see today, what she did is she made it happen. To get this award, and she's barely started her 3rd year of teaching, I think it shows how well she has connected with the students. And besides a heavy teaching classroom load, she also is the area head for our strategic communications sequence of advertising and public relations, of which about 55% or so of our students are enrolled in. So as you can imagine, she's one of the busiest people in this building. So Debbie, congratulations on this, and thank you so much for the energy and expertise you bring to this building each and every day. So I'll bring back Daryl to introduce the 2015 winners of the Distinguished Alumni Awards. Daryl?
Before we celebrate the honorees, I'd want to take a minute to shed some light on the history of these awards and those who came before us. This Distinguished Alumni Award began in 1984, so quite a few years ago, and as a way to cast the spotlight on our alumni and that have distinguished themselves in the chosen field. The first honorees were Charles Engelman, Doc Jordan, Leif Olson, and Ray Shaw. Since that time, JayMac has inducted more than 100 members into the ranks of distinguished alumni, and 7 other alumni have been recognized since 2006, receiving the Young Professional Award. So as you can see, the breadth of experience and the fields where our alumni have built their careers is extremely broad. And when you stop to think that the college has had more than 11,000 alumni, this is a very select group of people, and to receive this designation, so it's no small achievement in my mind. Today we'll add 4 more to that elite group. I will share a few details about each recipient, and we'll watch a short video profile, and after which the recipient, as is the case with BBJ, his wife, Gina, will come forward to receive their award and make a few remarks. And now we would like to honor our first recipient of the 2015 Distinguished Alumni Award, the late Bob Berry Jr. And to do that, we are joined by his co-worker and friend, all will know her, from the K4 TV family, Linda Kavanaugh.
It's an honor to be here, but bittersweet, as Gina and I were talking. We would rather not be here honoring Bobby on this day, but certainly he deserved the award. He was an incredible professional, but he was also an incredible man. And I think that we got a sense of how much people appreciated him when he did pass away during that tragic accident. Our station was flooded with people who didn't know him but felt like they did. And I think that was his gift, to be able to communicate with people as though he was your best friend. And people felt that connection. So you can imagine what it was like working with him every day, to have him sitting to my left on the set. To this day, I can't turn to that direction and introduce sports without expecting Bobby to be there. He was the light of the newsroom. He had a special happiness about him. He loved what he did, and he did what he loved. And he did make stories along the way. And perhaps my favorite was when he was still a young sports guy, and he was doing the noon newscast, and it was April Fool's Day. And this is a familiar story to his family. But he got up there, and he gave his sports, and then he pretended like there was some breaking news, and he picked it up, and he read it, and he said, Barry Switzer is leaving the University of Oklahoma. And then they went to a commercial break. Well, our lights, our telephones just lit up at that time. Everybody was calling. Newspapers and columnists from around the United States were calling within 90 seconds of this happening. And Bobby just didn't have time to get in the fact that it was April Fool's before the commercial hit. And so he had to come back and explain that it was an April Fool's joke, but the damage had really been done already. And so his dad was not working that day, but Big Bob came in the next day and said that he had been called up to Lee Allen Smith's office to account for his son's behavior. And Bob Sr. said to Bobby, give me one reason why I shouldn't fire you. And Bob Jr. sat there for a minute and he said, well, because I'm your son. So we had the privilege and the joy of working with Bobby all these years. And he had his dad's DNA. If you knew Bobby, you knew Bob Sr. If you knew Bob Sr., you knew Jr. There wasn't a day that Bobby didn't come into the newsroom as soon as he got there and hug and kiss his dad. And that's just the kind of guy he was. Just a guy who was an expert at sports, but who could make it interesting for people who didn't give a rat's about sports. And I think you'll see in this video some of his strengths.
This is Bob Berry Jr. I want to introduce him tonight formally because he makes his debut tomorrow morning on the AM show with Butch and Ben McCain.
Who would have thought that it took a special teams play, something that has haunted Oklahoma for the last couple of years, to break a 2-year losing streak at home? A win anytime is important for this team whose confidence was shaken, and it was again Oklahoma doing what they can do, running the football. Well, hi everyone, welcome to a Friday Sports Overtime Oklahoma State edition. The Oklahoma State Cowboys were almost 20-point underdogs to the defending national champions. The Sooners leave the field having shocked the Cowboys to win the Bedlam battle here in Stillwater. I'm Bob Berry Jr. at Boone Pickens Stadium. We'll have a report coming up next on News Channel 4. Gets to do it all themselves, and then they're going to have the stop. We're going to be back with Brian Brinkley and the rest of sports coming up. Big game tomorrow, huh? And he's got his game face on, not saying much. You, Lonnie? We're in the parking lot at Dallas Cowboys Stadium. We got the trucks, we got the porta potties, we got our grill over there. We're gonna have brats and burgers and everything else. You know what they didn't do?
What?
They didn't guard, Linda.
Oh,
they didn't
yeah.
guard. You gotta play defense. You gotta get on them. They've got to play defense tonight. Oh.
And if they do that, they might win.
There's no business like snow, business like snow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo-hoo-hoo.
pretty sure I wasn't going to be a star in the academic realm, so I thought at a very young age, hey, this would be a good thing to do, hang in there and do sports and follow him.
When Bob Berry puts on his makeup for Action 4, he looks 20 years younger. A magic mirror? Nope, it's a natural sequence. Meet Bob Berry Jr.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go.
Welcome to San Antonio, where Game 5 of the NBA's Western Conference Finals between the Thunder and San Antonio Spurs a little less than 2 hours away.
You know, Oklahoma and Baylor are going to run the football tonight. They were running in the Texas 500 right here last week.
Right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial.
Oklahoma State has clinched a bowl bid for the 9th straight year, and they get ready for their Cactus Bowl game against Washington. Is it the Crescent City, the Big Easy, the city that Care forgot, or the town that was torn apart by Hurricane Katrina?
It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
And our thanks to Professor Scott Hodgson for putting that together. We appreciate that very much. Nicely done.
Well, BBJ's wife, Gina, is here to accept this award on his behalf. Gina.
I would like to thank everyone for honoring Bobby with this special award. We're very proud to accept the JayMac Alumni Award on his behalf. Bobby was always proud to be a Sooner and a graduate of the College of Journalism. In fact, he had several crimson and cream ties to support his school. He often joked about his lack of study skills and less than stellar academic record. He would frequently reminisce about the more time that he spent at the Mont than he did at the Bazell Library. While he was humble about his college career and subsequent achievements, we all know that Bobby possessed many extraordinary gifts. He was a natural communicator and a man of integrity, so it's not surprising that people trusted Bobby and gravitated toward him. People who had the privilege of interacting with Bobby always felt like they'd known him forever. He just had a way of making everyone feel special, and he genuinely loved people. Bobby loved what he did for a living, and he really particularly loved hearing about other people's successes, and he loved reporting those successes. He was also a man who did not rest on his academic achievements. He was always striving to be better, which is a testament of his character. Again, please know how much this award means to our family and how touched Bobby would be by this honor. And though I am a loyal, spirited OSU graduate, it only seems fitting to end with Boomer Sooner. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda and Gina. I've never met Bob, but I have to echo that. I always felt like I knew him, watched him on TV, listened to him on the radio. Just a wonderful example of the spirit of the Gaylord College. Truly an honor to celebrate him today. Our second honoree today is Don C. Davis. Don has been a newspaper reporter, a lawyer, state legislator, university president, OETA board member, founder of 5 NPR radio stations. Take my breath here a little bit. State higher education region and council to governors. An innovative leader in each of these fields. He credits his success to storytelling that he learned studying journalism at OU. Among his proudest achievements are transferring governance of Cameron University to the OU Board of Regents, initiating graduate programs at Cameron, broadcasting news and classical music to Southwest Oklahoma, and establishing the Davis Family Communication Lectureship at Cameron. Don and his wife Beverly met while students at OU, including sons Casey and Josh. The Davis family has earned 3 undergraduate and 4 graduate degrees from OU. JayMac is pleased to recognize Don C. Davis as a 2015 Distinguished Alumnus.
In recent years, the OU journalism program has defined itself as being a place to learn to tell stories. Whenever I first heard that, it just, bam, hit me that that's exactly what it did for me. It taught me how to tell stories, and that is absolutely right on, because that's the basis for almost everything you do in life. In the House, I was elected in 1970. I served 1971 through 2000. And 8 of those years, I was either vice chairman or chairman of the Appropriations and Budget Committee. The services were greatly underfunded. Higher education, common schools, roads and highways, mental health, and we said, how are we going to pay for these? And we voted what was the largest tax increase in the history of the state of Oklahoma and devoted that almost entirely to funding education. My 10th year in the legislature, I was considering what I was going to do next in my political career. I was thinking maybe about running for Congress, and very suddenly the president of Cameron announced his retirement and said he was going to run for Congress. So I thought, well, gosh, maybe I could be president of Cameron University. We had to do 2 things. One of them was we had too much debt in our housing system. We had issued bonds to build new high-rise dormitories that never filled up, and so we had to rent more than half the space on our campus to outside tenants just to make the payments on the principal and interest on the bonds. Now, at that particular time in history, interest rates were very high, and the money that Cameron had borrowed earlier was at interest rates that were very low. Well, it's kind of a teeter-totter effect. If you have money invested at a high interest rate, you can pay off a great deal more money that you owe at a low interest rate. 30 cents on the dollar paid off all of our investments. When you start a story, if you go into it with an open mind, you never know where it's going to end up. And the same is true with your life's work. If you go into it with an open mind, as you find the facts, see the possibilities, you can go a multitude of directions. And if you have a good basic education that teaches you to think critically and express yourself, you can succeed in most any profession. Thank you very much. I am honored by this honor today. The journalism school at OU has had a very special spot in my heart for a long, long time, and I've said that the success I've had in life came about because of my ability to tell a story, which I learned here at OU. Beverly, my wife, tells me that is not true, that I learned to tell stories from my mother. And she's right. I got my storytelling ability from my mother, along with my sense of humor and arthritis. So, so nothing's perfect, but I certainly honed skills in how to tell a story here at the OU Journalism School. I appreciate this honor. I appreciate all my friends who have come up from Lawton, my colleagues that I've worked with here at the University of Oklahoma while we were a part of the OU system, and even a guy I newspapered with, Joe Carter's here. And you can imagine how old he is, but he's not as old as the guy who was one of my high school teachers, and that's Dick Neptune. So, so it's just kind of watch them, and if they fall over, help them on the way out. Regent Bill Burgess and I have had a special relationship for a long time. I started out in the newspaper business, then became a lawyer. Bill worked for me when he was starting out in the lawyering business. He was an intern in my highly successful one-man law office in Lawton, and Bill then took over my practice and made something out of it, which I never could have, and he's now ended up in the newspaper business just like I did, except Bill learned the real truth about journalism, and that is that freedom of the press belongs not to the reporter but to the owner of the press. And Bill decided to take over that position, and I must say it's a much better one. I'm also very honored to be on the same platform with Bob Berry Jr. and Dick Pryor and Kathy Taylor. I really never knew Bobby very well, but while I was a student journalist at OU, I worked with the real Bob Berry, Bob Berry #1. And for those of you who aspire to be sports writers, let me tell you something that Bob Berry taught me a long time ago, and that is that whenever you tune into a ball game and you're listening to it on the radio, it is very maddening if you can't figure out what the score is. You can't tell who's ahead or who's behind, and it'll go minutes and minutes, or it seems like hours, trying to figure out and find out what the score is. Well, Bob Berry had a little hourglass that he took with him that to every ball game that we worked together on, and it had about a minute and a half to a minute and 45 seconds worth of sand in it, and he would set that up, and when the sand ran out, he'd say the score and turn it over. So those of you who aspire to be sports reporters, take that lesson to heart. I see some students here and faculty members, so I'm going to give another couple of suggestions for how you can pass along some information and advice that might be very helpful to aspiring journalists. One of them is learn to write. Now, that's why it's called the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication. You got to learn to write first before you can get into the business of mass communication. And I can't overemphasize that enough. I could, I guess, say, don't be seduced by technology, because even though you're getting some very valuable experience with some of the latest and greatest equipment in the industry, if you don't learn to write, the story won't be told well. No matter how much you shine a plug, it won't turn into a buffalo nickel. The other thing, and while we're on that, all this great equipment, you lied to me. Yes, you lied. A group showed up to shoot all this of me, and I said, some cameras make me look old and fat. They said, oh, no, we've got all the latest equipment here at the Gaylord College of Journalism, and I look as fat as Paul Massad. and probably about as old as Paul Massad. So anyway, well, as the famous guys say, I resemble the remark. But something else that might make a little interesting twist on the story here, and that is, of three of us who are being honored today, all three of us are also graduates of the University of Oklahoma College of Law. So, you know, we've been under a lot of budget constraints and budget cutting and problems in Oklahoma. So Joe Harris, the dean of the law school, said, here's the deal, says, we'll just show up and we'll tell these guys the law school's honoring them too. So we can kill two birds with one stone. We won't have to go through all the problem of having a ceremony and a lunch and trying to get the regents to come and brag on everybody and all that. So anyway, that's congratulations, Joe. And the only problem is that we've now created a school of journalism and a school of law, or college of law, college of both of them, I guess, that I couldn't get into anymore. And so, but my two sons, Casey and Josh, are also OU graduates and OU law graduates. It's been a real privilege for me to represent the College of Journalism in places where I have. It's been a lot of fun for me to tell the stories that I learned to tell properly here. And I want to end up with just another close one, or one that's close to my heart, and that is, you who are journalists have your profession preserved in the Constitution, because it's in the Bill of Rights that Congress won't make any laws to infringe on freedom of speech or freedom of the press. That's very important, and I think its placement at the beginning of the Constitution shows its importance, and also makes it incumbent on those of us who consider ourselves as journalists to heed that and adhere to it very carefully. Now, it's not the first right or freedom mentioned in the Bill of Rights of the Constitution. The first one's actually religion. And within the last week, we've had 4 leading candidates for President of the United States who said we need to have a religious requirement for consideration for the sanctuary caused by the refugee crisis. We suggested that there also be a religious requirement for being considered for immigration. We've had another suggestion that we have a religious requirement for even holding office, being president of the United States. And we've then had a suggestion that we should create a database of all people of a certain religion so that we can keep an eye on them. Well, folks, that's not what we need to radiate as our American ideal. I think that as journalists, we need to be ever vigilant about this sort of rhetoric and this sort of, I'll say it, cancer on our society. I've been very pleased to see the diversity that has developed here in the Gaylord College, and congratulate those of you responsible for that, for your activities. Again, it's been a real pleasure for me to come here today. You may notice I say things that are controversial, and that's why I didn't get to be the editor of the Oklahoma Daily. Because while I was not in the room, I can imagine some of the professors and people over there that said, "That's so much is crazy. We don't we don't know what he'll do, so we can't turn him loose as editor of the Oklahoma Daily." Thank goodness, because I may have ended up working for Bill Burgess in Lawton. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Don. I enjoyed that. Dick Pryor received his Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Juris Doctor from the University of Oklahoma. The Norman native began his journalism career at KGOU Radio. He was sports director at KNOR Radio and KFDX TV, sportscaster at KRM&G Radio, sports anchor reporter for KJRH TV and KOCO TV, and joined OETA as news anchor in 1990. At OETA, Dick hosted the Oklahoma News Report, Oklahoma Forum, A Conversation With, On the Record, and Ask a Lawyer. He anchored statewide election coverage, moderated candidate debates. He served as public relations director for the Oklahoma City 89ers Baseball Club and chief of staff for Oklahoma's lieutenant governor. A three-time regional Emmy Award winner, Dick has been president of JayMac, member of the College of Arts and Sciences Board of Visitors. He was inducted into the Oklahoma Journalism Hall of Fame in 2009. Dick joined Candor, a public relations and business consulting firm, in August of 2015, but that is not where he started.
When I was a young guy playing baseball, I would always kind of mumble play-by-play while we were playing. And then when I was a senior in high school, I went to a youth conference at Weatherford, and this featured speaker was Bob Dotson. So Bob Dotson talked about what he did, how he got into the business, and it was fascinating. I thought, wow, that sounds like something fun to do. You could really enjoy that kind of work. During this period of time, a lot of young people at the University of Oklahoma and around the nation were learning that journalists had great power. This was the time of Watergate. And indeed, we figured out that journalists, with just a pen and a piece of paper, could bring down the President of the United States through good, solid reporting. It was heady times to be a journalist. Well, my story arc is this. Started off at KNOR Radio in Norman as sports director. From there, I went to Wichita Falls, KFTX, the NBC affiliate, and was sports director for about a year and a half.
Starting Monday, he is now our new sports director. It's good to have you here.
The defending Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers opened their 1979 season.
In 1984, I had the opportunity to come back to Oklahoma City and go to KOCO TV. Bigger market, new opportunity, closer to OU, which was a good thing.
Gator Bowl when Barry Hanna bowled into this corner of the end zone with just over a minute to play.
I used to play baseball. I can hit off her. All right, let her rip.
And then after 5 years there, I went to OETA and became a news broadcaster, switching from sports to news.
Good evening, I'm Dick Pryor.
And I'm Jerry Bonds. Thanks for joining us tonight.
It was interesting because several people had told me along the way that they thought I would actually be a better newscaster than I would be sportscaster. I didn't want to hear that. But when the opportunity came to move to news, it seemed to be a logical move to make. Jerry Park was our sports director at KOCO TV, and he told me that I was a pure journalist. And he meant that as a compliment. A pure journalist in the world of commercial television. So it made sense to move and to work for PBS, work for public television, doing news in a different way.
Good morning, Oklahoma. We're at the state capitol for the inauguration of the 26th governor of the state of Oklahoma, Charles Bradford Henry.
We're back on Oklahoma Forum with Admiral William J. Crowell, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and former ambassador to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. You were mentioning earlier about wars, and I'm curious.
Probably the thing that I'm most known for now is something called A Conversation With. These are long-form interviews with noteworthy Oklahomans, famous Oklahomans, but people that have made a real impact on the state, and it's about their lives. It's about what they've done and how they grew up and the contributions that they made, not only in their field, but to the state of Oklahoma.
She's the First Lady of Rock and Roll and the Queen of Rockabilly. He was a farmer, newspaper reporter, and Marine.
So having an opportunity to do a conversation with gave me the chance to use my knowledge of Oklahoma, my interest in politics, and interest in a lot of areas, including music. I had an opportunity to interview Roy Clark and Wanda Jackson, to interview Tom Stafford, an astronaut who almost made it to the moon and was one of my boyhood idols. In 2007, Ken Burns memorialized veterans from World War II in that great documentary, The War. We decided that we needed to do an Oklahoma documentary, and he put me in charge of it.
It seems, as I recall, a good many of our missions were factories, factory complexes or towns with a lot of factories in them.
It's one of the things that I think many people have mentioned to me the most, that they appreciated. And it's interesting to me because it was not just about the show. They appreciated the care with which we did the show. Our World War II project, and that was a major part of it, was the documentary, along with a story collection effort, won a regional Emmy for community service for OETA. We later won another Emmy as a team for the Dust Bowl project, using a similar template we had used for World War II. And the third regional Emmy that I've received came from the A Conversation With program with Dr. George Henderson from the University of Oklahoma, talking about race relations. Now I am Director of Client Services at Candor, which is a growing, exciting firm in Oklahoma City. So now, instead of thinking about the viewer, I have to think about the clients. Instead of serving our advertisers, we think about clients. It's what I really like, is developing strategy and implementing a strategy and seeing it pay off. As I have progressed through the profession over the years, I've realized why I like journalism, and it's because every day is new. You get to meet interesting people. You don't just have a job as a journalist. You have jobs. You have opportunities. You have chances to meet people, tell stories, interact with people, interview people that you never imagined that you would interview or meet. It's a great life in journalism. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you all. This is a great honor, and very excited to be back at OU. First, I want to congratulate the other honorees today, Kathy Taylor and Don Davis. And I'll tell you, I'm honored to know both of you personally and to share this experience with you today. Thank you for your remarkable contributions to the state of Oklahoma. And to the Berry family, Gina, Big Bob showed a lot of us how to do play-by-play. I have an hourglass egg timer that I used. And Big Bob gave me my start in television. I interned at Channel 4, and he recommended me for my first job in TV as sports director at KFDX in Wichita Falls, Texas. And, of course, there was my old buddy Bobby from Norman High. We were competitors in OKC television for several years, but we were friends first and always, dating back to our college days at OU. Now, this is not a solo journey. Not a solo journey at all. In journalism, especially in television, we operate as a team. Now, I've been blessed to work with many talented, dedicated colleagues and guided by terrific mentors. But first, I must say, Paul Massad, thank you for recruiting me to the University of Oklahoma. I had outstanding professors at OU who built the foundation for me and for the rest of us, instilling an appreciation for the craft and a commitment to ethics. Now, we all need a break, and I got in the door thanks to Linda Dowling. Linda was manager at KGOU in 1974, and she gave a lot of very green but ambitious students the chance to learn firsthand how to do radio. Linda is here today, and Linda, I've listened back to some of those tapes, and that was a real leap of faith to let us on the radio. But thank you, Linda, for believing in your students and giving so many of us the opportunities to start our careers at KGOU. I had a great mentor at OETA named Bill Thrash, who thought that I was the right person to be news director and to be the anchor and host of many important television programs and series on OETA, most of which were produced by Mickey Smith. And now I've moved into a new realm of journalism, public relations at Candor, a growing firm led by OU grad Karen Wicker. You know, there is a lot of thanks to go around, 40 years worth, and not enough time to name each person who's helped me along the way. But I want to give a special thank you to my partner and fellow journalist, former assistant managing editor of the Oklahoma Daily, Lisa Pryor, for understanding what I do and encouraging me every day. Thank you. And thank you to Dean Joe Foote and Dean Ed Kelly for your leadership at the Gaylord College. I am truly grateful, very grateful, and deeply honored to be recognized with this award. But I am especially so because it came on your watch. I'm proud to be a graduate of this college, and first and foremost, proud to be a journalist. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Kathy Taylor is a proven leader, business executive, public servant, and corporate attorney. She currently serves as CEO of Impact Tulsa, which is an unprecedented partnership focused on the collective impact business, education, philanthropic, and civic leaders can have to increase student success in the Tulsa region. Known for her strong leadership in recruiting new jobs, expanding education opportunities, and developing entrepreneurship programs, Kathy served as Oklahoma's Secretary of Commerce and Tourism, Mayor of the City of Tulsa, Oklahoma's Chief of Education Strategy, and a resident fellow at the Harvard Kennedy School Institute of Politics. Currently, Kathy serves as a member of the board of Sonic, America's Drive-In, at the invitation of the United States Secretary of the Navy. Kathy also serves as sponsor of the U.S. Navy combat ship named the USS Tulsa. Kathy earned her bachelor's degree in journalism and her Juris Doctor from the University of Oklahoma, where she graduated from the OU Law Order of the Queef and is a recipient of the Silver Letzizer Award. She was further honored by the OU Law as an inductee into the Order of the Owl Hall of Fame. Additionally, Kathy is an inductee in the Oklahoma Women's Hall of Fame, the Tulsa Historical Society Hall of Fame, and Oklahoma City Public Schools Wall of Fame. So please join me in congratulating Kathy Taylor as a 2015 JayMac Distinguished Alumna.
I lost my dad my freshman year in college and my mother my sophomore year. And so had I been in a state where I didn't know anyone, didn't have any support system, I don't know if I would have made it through college. But the university, and especially the School of Journalism, really wrapped around me and helped me get through college. My decision to go into public service was really because I wanted to give back. My life could have gone a very different way my freshman and sophomore year in college when I lost my parents, had people not stepped in to make a difference in my life. And when I had the opportunity, that was really in my heart that I wanted to give back.
To lead a successful business, you must have a plan. I'm running for mayor with a plan to move us forward.
I became interested in running for mayor because there were a significant number of jobs at risk in Tulsa. And as Secretary of Commerce, I was helping to manage the work that the state was going to do to help keep those jobs. And that was American Airlines, largest employer in Tulsa. And I didn't see the city taking the leadership that I'd seen other cities take. And I literally walked into a meeting, felt that we were going to lose those jobs, and I could think of the 5,000 people that were never going to have the same standard of living. To recreate those jobs would have been impossible in a decade or two. And so I said, I can't watch this happen. I need to step forward and take leadership and run for mayor. I did it. I won, and we saved the jobs and did many more things that make me feel like my time in office made a difference for others, and that was my goal.
I want to begin today, my first moments in office, talking to you about two very important things for Tulsa: opportunity and unity.
We were able to complete the BOK Center. When I got into office, but 2 weeks after I got into office, it came in, I think, about $40 million over budget, and governments don't keep that kind of extra cash on hand. So we were able to do some value engineering and other things to bring the BOK Center to completion in the way the citizens envisioned it.
The BOK Center has been one of the most significant impacts in Tulsa's economic development.
9th highest ticket sales in the nation, 23rd on this planet. In 2007, I was mayor of Tulsa, Oklahoma, went to sleep one night, and at 3 a.m. in the morning, my phone rang with an automated call that said, "The Emergency Operations Center has been activated. Will you report?" Well, as mayor, of course, I said yes. I looked outside, and it was completely pitch black outside. There were no street lights on. All I could see was a glimmer of ice hanging from every tree in front of my house. Fire chief came to get me. We then realized that 75% of the people in the city of Tulsa were without power. We had our firefighters out knocking on every door to identify the highest risk people, because literally a wrong decision in this situation could be fatal for our citizens. We met our goal of getting almost everyone in our city back on power before Christmas. We had no deaths due to the loss of power. The entire, really, 10 days where I showered at City Hall only twice was pretty much like that. People coming together. I saw the very best of our community in the very worst of times.
The city comes before me. That's why I ran for this job, and that's why I'm not running now.
We were at the city level very much like we see ourselves at the national level today, very politically divided. And I needed to get that ballpark completed because that was going to complete the downtown revitalization. And city councilors said, look, here's how it works. We have to vote against you half the time because we won't get reelected otherwise. And I said, if I take myself out of the equation, the ballpark's completed because it's no longer me, it's then about the future of the city of Tulsa. It's not about my reelection campaign. So I decided not to run for reelection.
It is time to say, let's play ball. I'm here to announce that after 8 months of hard work, we're going to build a ballpark.
When I left the mayor's office, I went back to work for Governor Henry to help with education issues at the state. And then I started with philanthropists in the faith community, business leaders, and educators in Tulsa collective impact way of looking at education to make sure that every child has the opportunity that I had, and that's a pathway to a high-quality education. So we are working to increase student success by measuring really what matters, using data to help improve, and helping to scale what really works. I've shown that one person can make a difference and that your circumstances can't define you. People came into my life and made a difference, and now I've had the opportunity and the blessing to be able to pay it forward.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I can tell you I will neither be as funny or as lengthy as Don Davis, my good friend. But congratulations to my good friends, Don Davis and Dick Pryor, for their award, and to the late Bob Berry Jr., who I feel like was ever present in my life. And to Dean Kelly, former Dean Foote, and to the professors who I know are shaping the lives of students every day. And I thank my family for joining me here today. My daughter, who is a Sooner, Elizabeth Ellison, both undergraduate and College of Law, and who will be recognized by the College of Arts and Sciences as a distinguished alumni in February. My husband, Bill, and my colleagues and friends from Tulsa for sharing with me this really special moment. You know, the days of my Smith Corona portable typewriter, where I pecked out stories for the Oklahoma Daily and counted, let's see how many of you know this, counted hot type, which I can still do, to be sure the correct headline could be placed in the newspaper, and that was in the H.H. Herbert School of Journalism. Those were some of my fondest memories of college. So to be honored by this school, now the Gaylord College of Journalism, with its amazing state-of-the-art facility, is emotional for me. It's a homecoming of sorts. As you saw in this video, this school, this work in journalism literally was my refuge in college as I worked through my sadness, my fear, and then my hope that this school gave me as I lost both of my parents during my freshman year in college. The journalism school, its professors, my fellow students, along with friend Chris Purcell, and ultimately the College of Law, wrapped around me literally. They helped me move forward, both emotionally and financially, at the most difficult time in my life. Ralph Sewell, a 1988 distinguished alumni and relative, got me a job to help me get myself through school. It was the midnight to 6 a.m. shift, then called the Daily Oklahoman. I filed glossy file photos in the newsroom of the Daily Oklahoman and always hoped there would be bad weather because that's when the bigwigs came in and I got to see how the newsroom really operated. I was most at peace with the noise of the newsroom as we worked to publish news for our fellow Sooners. So my sincere thanks to you for honoring me, for allowing me to come home to literally a hero's welcome. And I thank you to the Gaylord College of Journalism for the support and compassion you gave to me during a most important and difficult time of my life. My time with OU, and the Gaylord College specifically, shaped my future in a very significant way. A most heartfelt thanks for this special honor.
Four great alums, four great careers. Please join me one more time as we salute our 2015 Distinguished Alumni Award winners. Finally, before we go, I'd like to salute Professor Scott Hodgson and his production team. If they would stand and be recognized or come up. Once again, this team did an exceptional job filming these interviews, and then all the work they did in post-production. There was at least one all-nighter, right, Scott? Maybe there were two, he says, 2 all-nighters to meet the deadline today, but really first-class work. by our students. So again, congratulations to the award winners. Please join me, our recipients, and their families as we proceed to lunch in Studio D, which is out the door to your left and down the hall. Thank you all again for being here this morning.